think eating fruit in the morning is always good for your health? The scary truth is, for people over 60, some familiar fruits can silently damage the kidneys, especially if eaten in the morning, when the kidneys are still working slowly. 1. Bananas. When a healthy fruit becomes a risky gamble for seniors. Have you ever wondered how something as soft, golden, and beloved as a banana could be harmful to your kidneys? It seems harmless, but what if I told you that the danger doesn't come from the banana itself, but from where it comes from, how it's stored, and how quickly it spoils? Bananas ripen quickly, and in many markets or grocery stores, overripe ones are often left out in warm conditions, the perfect environment for mold spores and bacteria to thrive. Whether you're planning to eat them, even the smallest black spots on the skin can harbor fungal toxins or harmful bacteria that continue to grow if the banana isn't refrigerated after it's ripened. For older adults whose immune systems and kidney function are already under stress, these contaminants can be dangerous. When these pathogens enter the bloodstream, especially if the banana is eaten raw, they can aggravate existing infections or even contribute to kidney inflammation. Many people forget that bananas are often imported from far away, subjected to multiple stages of processing, and often sprayed or preserved with ripening chemicals in warehouses where sanitation is not always guaranteed. If they are not washed before peeling, any residue or contamination on the surface can be transferred to your fingers and into your food. Instead of giving up bananas altogether, just be more cautious. Buy from trusted sources, check the peels, and avoid bananas that have black spots, are mushy, or have been left in warm, humid places for too long. Refrigerate them after they are ripe and avoid those that smell sour or fermented. Your kidneys don't need to fight anymore. Comment 1 if you've ever left bananas on the shelf too long without thinking twice. Don't worry, eating fruit isn't the enemy, but the way it's stored, sold, and consumed might be. Let's take a closer look at another morning favorite that could quietly wear down your kidneys: oranges. 2. Oranges, the danger lurking in every sticky pile at the grocery store. Have you ever picked up an orange from a large sale bin and found it to be a little soft? You probably thought, it's just ripe, and tossed it in your bag. But here's what most people don't realize. Oranges, especially those stacked in grocery store aisles or sold separately at street markets, are extremely susceptible to bacterial contamination when their skins are damaged or stored in humid conditions. Many of these oranges are touched by dozens of people throughout the day. Some have tiny cuts on their surface that are invisible to the naked eye, allowing bacteria and mold to grow under the skin. This process is accelerated in warm environments, especially in poorly ventilated displays. When older adults consume juice from these damaged oranges, or even peel and eat them without washing their hands after handling the outer surface, they may inadvertently introduce harmful bacteria like Penicillium digitatum or Aspergillus niger into their bodies. For healthy adults, this may result in mild digestive upset, but for people over 65, with slower filtering capabilities and weakened immune systems, it's a different story. Kidneys have to process not only nutrients, but also toxins produced by these spoilage microorganisms. That stress, repeated day after day, can exacerbate chronic inflammation or cause urinary tract infections that are harder to treat. The solution? Buy oranges that are individually wrapped or from clean, well-ventilated produce stands. Avoid stacked oranges that feel moist or sticky to the touch. And always wash your hands after handling the peel, even if you don't eat the peel. Comment 2 if you've ever bought oranges in bulk just because they looked like a bargain. 3. Dried fruit. Tiny, sweet, and often crawling with invisible hazards. Sounds harmless, right? A handful of raisins, a few dried apricots, maybe a few figs sprinkled on your morning bowl of oatmeal. But here's something most people never think about. Dried fruit is one of the least regulated items in the entire grocery store, especially when sold in loose bins, street vendors, or cheap, non-airtight packaging. Because dried fruit is often left out for weeks or months before being eaten, it's extremely susceptible to mold, particularly Aspergillus species that can produce aflatoxins, toxic compounds linked to liver and kidney stress. Worse yet, if stored in warm or humid conditions, like an open bag in your pantry or an uncovered bin at the grocery store, it can absorb moisture from the air, creating the perfect environment for mold to reactivate and spread invisibly. Even if you don't see a green layer of goo, that doesn't mean fungal spores aren't there. Another overlooked issue: dried fruit is often prepared or handled with bare hands in unsanitary environments. It's not uncommon for these foods to be touched by multiple people during packaging, scooping, or shipping. If fruit isn't dried completely or stored properly, bacteria from contaminated surfaces can become trapped and reactivated when the fruit is chewed and moistened in the mouth. Especially dangerous for older adults with slower digestive systems and weaker kidneys trying to eliminate toxins. Don't panic, but take action. Avoid bulk containers unless they're sealed and refrigerated. Choose brands that are sealed, clearly labeled, and have an expiration date. Store dried fruit in an airtight container and always check for strange odors or white residue before eating. Comment 3 if you've ever eaten dried fruit straight from a bulk container without thinking twice. It's not about giving up fruit, it's about knowing which ones can go bad without warning. And speaking of that, let's talk about grapes. Fresh, juicy, but often far less clean than they appear. 4. Grapes, the hidden hygiene risk no one talks about. You've probably popped a grape in your mouth to taste the sweetness at the store, or given it a quick rinse before adding it to your salad. But did you know that grapes are one of the dirtiest fruits sold in open markets and supermarket aisles, often carrying residues and contaminants that are invisible to the naked eye? Grapes grow in dense clusters, which can trap dirt, pesticide residue, bird droppings, and insects while still on the vine. After harvest, they're rarely washed properly before packaging, especially in low-cost lots or at roadside stands. Worse yet, because grapes are so delicate, stores often avoid handling them too much. That means dirt, bacteria, and even mold spores can still be lurking between the grapes until you eat them. And here's a thing for older people: the delicate skins of grapes can harbor harmful microorganisms, like E. coli or Salmonella, especially if the bunch is crushed or crushed. For people with healthy kidneys, light exposure can be easily filtered out. But for older people whose kidneys are already working harder with age, these hidden contaminants can lead to mild infections or increase kidney inflammation over time. Even worse, some grapes are sprayed with wax to preserve freshness, making it difficult for water to wash away surface germs without proper rubbing or soaking. So a quick rinse won't be enough. To be safe, Soak your grapes in a bowl of water with a little vinegar for a few minutes, then rinse under running water. Discard any soft, shriveled, or leaking grapes. Those are breeding grounds for spoilage bacteria. Comment 4 if you've ever eaten grapes straight from the bag without thinking about where they came from. 5. Avocados a creamy threat when mishandled or improperly stored. Everyone loves a ripe avocado mashed on toast, sliced into a salad, or blended into a smoothie. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Avocados are one of those fruits that pose a surprising risk to older adults when it comes to hygiene and hard to detect internal spoilage. The danger isn't in the inside, but on the outside, and how easily they slip past your defenses. Avocados have rough, bumpy skins that are susceptible to dirt, bacteria, and mold spores from the moment they're picked. During shipping, they often pass through many hands and many crates before they reach your kitchen. Most people never think to wash the skin, assuming they can just scrape out the flesh. But when you cut through that skin with a knife, whatever's stuck to the surface is pulled straight through the flesh and into your meal. Worse yet, avocados ripen from the inside out. This means that by the time you notice a brown spot or soft dent, spoilage may have spread to the middle, silently fermenting, sometimes with bacteria like Listeria monocytogenes or Clostridium, which thrive in low-acid, high-fat environments. For older adults with reduced kidney function, these toxins put pressure on an already weakened filtering system, potentially leading to nausea, fatigue, or more serious complications. To avoid this, always wash avocados thoroughly under running water. Scrubbing the skin with a brush, even if you don't plan on eating the skin. Cut off any dark spots or soft areas, and never eat avocados that are too soft or sour smelling. Comment 5 if you've ever cut into an avocado without washing it first. Avoid eating fruit that has been sitting in your fridge for days. You may not realize it, but that bowl of fruit you cut up on Sunday and leave in the fridge for later could be a hidden health hazard. For older adults, this habit keeping cut fruit for too long can be a hidden stressor on the kidneys, even if the fruit still looks perfectly fine on the outside. Cut fruit has a much shorter shelf life than whole fruit. As soon as you cut it, its natural protective layer is broken and bacteria from your knife, cutting board, or even the air begin to grow. Even inside the fridge, these bacteria don't go away. They just grow more slowly. By the third or fourth day, that fruit may have started to ferment or develop invisible mold, especially in damp, poorly ventilated containers. For older adults whose kidney function already slows with age, consuming semi-fermented or contaminated fruit can cause more than just an upset stomach. These bacteria can release metabolic byproducts that the kidneys must process and filter out. Over time, this extra workload can lead to chronic inflammation or worsen pre-existing kidney conditions, especially if this happens repeatedly every morning with every bowl of healthy fruit. To protect yourself, keep fruit whole until you're ready to eat it. If you cut the fruit in advance, store it in an airtight glass container. Label it with the date and try to eat it within 24 to 48 hours. And always smell and inspect it before eating it, even if it looks safe. You're not wasting it by throwing away old fruit, you're doing it wisely. Comment below if you've ever kept cut fruit longer than you should have. Your kidneys have been working silently for you every single day, filtering toxins, balancing your body, and keeping you alive without asking for thanks. But as we age, even the smallest mistake, like eating a fruit that's been left out too long or handled without care, can push them over the edge. You don't need to fear fruit, you just need to understand it better. A few simple habits: buying from clean sources, washing thoroughly, storing wisely, and avoiding spoiled pieces can give your kidneys the break they've earned after years of service. Because staying healthy after 60 isn't just about eating more fruits and veggies, it's about eating them safely. You've made it this far in life through wisdom and resilience. Now's the time to use both to protect your body even further. If you found this helpful, share one habit you'll change starting today. Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to HEALZO for more health tips made for people just like you.